Hi, Shana. Mr. Parrish here again. I'd like to take a minute to talk about the response paragraph assignment. For the most part, this went really well, just like the last one. I think you're really putting things together in the class. I'll talk about really the one spot, if I was going to have you rewrite this is the one major revision I'd ask you to consider. Let's take a look at what happens when you introduce your source. So James Hatch, a veteran who attends his freshman year at Yale at the age of 52, is surrounded by the so-called millennial snowflakes. Then you take two sentences to define the term snowflakes. Now, and then you kind of head back to this. So when I say it slows it down, what I would suggest you do is make your opening move. People have these misconceptions about college students. A very always an effective opener. And at that point, that's where this definition of snowflakes should come. In fact, this sentence should probably end with snowflakes. Then comes the definition of snowflakes, and maybe that this is a term often associated with Ivy League students, unless that's an idea you're getting from Hatch anyway. But he's not the origin of the term snowflakes. He's just, he's using that as something he's responding to. I think then your summary of Hatch's article would be a little more effective. Another thing, I think this is one thing that you'll use often. If you are quoting an entire sentence, I have not met one kid who fits that description. If that's the first word of your sentence, then omit the that. Hatch proclaims, comma, I have. If it's a partial quote, then that would be okay. You'd omit the comma. I probably talk about this in a subsequent video, but the basic rule is don't use that unless you are using a partial quote. He uses kids. I would say that when you return as the writer here, not when you're quoting, but kids is really a kind of talking style or slang term. Again, for the most part, you do talk about in terms of students as you do here. Perhaps you're even replacing kids with students, I'm not sure. But I do have to admire your shrewd use of both the brackets and the quotes inside of quotes. You've been well schooled in this. So good for you. The response paragraph, I think, is really strong. This is always a question when I'm writing that or who. I apply this kind of rule of thumb. If the noun in front of it is a human being or refers to human beings, I use who. Otherwise, I use that. But I think there are situations, especially with this general collection of plural nouns, where that is accepted. I don't know if it's an error, but I thought I'd bring it up. On your Works Cited page, as we'll talk about later in the course, especially in the working bibliography assignment, you want to create a hanging indent for your Works Cited page. That means that in this case, the second and third line are indented. So this first line kind of hangs. That's the idea. Depending on which version or word you have, there are easy ways to do it. But if for right now, if it's just for one, you could go here after the comma, after 2020, click enter, then hit tab, and it'll scoot these two lines over. I know if you click here before doing that, you would just tab the whole mess over, and that's not what you want. It can be frustrating. All right, well, look forward to seeing what you come up with in the summary reaction paper. So far, so good. Take care.